Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tiny Tim's Minis. For those of you that do not know, I am Tim, and on this channel, we take big things and we make them small. This week we're finishing up our zombie Pokemon series. Last video we did Bulbasaur, and the video before that we did Charmander. So we're finishing up with who else? Squirtle.
It's Squirtle! Squirtle, Squirtle.
And it kind of kicks off spooky season. We've been kicking off spooky season with some zombies. We got some spooky videos coming up. We got a lot of cool videos coming up. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share it to your friends and family, hit that bell, get that notification, all that good stuff. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into our build. As always, we're starting off with some clay. These are the tools I usually use. We got some little pokies. This has been my favorite throughout these videos. It's really good at making like cuts, making just different textures. It's really nice. For the shell, we just kind of started off with the basic shape, and we're going to be using a clay extruder just to get the edges on the shell because I didn't feel like rolling everything out. And with the Super Sculpey, it was a pain in the butt. Literally, it just, my table was shaking. I was pushing so hard on it. With this, we just kind of trimmed it up, make it look nice. The shell was, I've made the shell like 3 times throughout the different Squirtles I made, so I kind of had the idea of how I wanted to make it down. It was really easy, just kind of going over some reference pictures. With this, I used the plastic bag. I'm honestly not too sure what the difference was. It doesn't get as deep if you weren't using the plastic bag. Also, you can lay your thumb on it without getting fingerprints everywhere. So it was kind of nice. The shell came out really nice. I did the same with the front of the shell. We're just kind of digging it out with the tools. These tools are really nice, especially the silicone tip ones. I've really been using them a lot. I didn't have them for a while, but I recently got them. This is the part where I did not like the Squirtle I was making, so I kind of cut them up. It's like, this guy needs to go. For the legs, I just kind of shaped them to the shape that I thought they're like. I was using reference photos of what Squirtle looked like. I mean, that's if you have like a sketch or something that you're working with, use that for sizing and everything. I textured him up with the tool I've been using I made in the Charmander video, and then for the toes and stuff, with things like that, I like to pre-bake it just because it's easier to insert it into the clay, because if it was soft, it would be melting and bending. This is my favorite stipple tool. Again, it makes a really nice cut. It makes really good texture. You could even use that for skin texture and everything. Coming up, we got the hand. I was just gonna do three little claws, but I decided to put them all together to give it that kind of shape. And I was really, really happy with how it came out. Until I painted it, I was a little iffy. I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not. I kind of wanted it to be like, he's been in the water for a long time and he hasn't trimmed his fingernails. That's kind of the idea of what I was going for. So it came out really cool. This tool I use for mainly eyes. That's honestly all about it. Like for holes and stuff, for making a mouth, I'll usually use it to smooth it down. But for making the mouth, I just kind of cut the slit that I want. The Squirtle, he kind of had that little V shape going on like snapper turtles do. So that's why I did it with that. But his mouth came out really cool. He's really spooky looking. I made sure this head was the correct size before I started smoothing it on. It looked really good. I was really happy with this. I made a little tongue. I didn't pre-bake it. I was gonna pre-bake it, but I don't want to wait 15 minutes for it to bake, so I just kind of put it in, textured it up, and yeah, we're good to go with that. For this, I was adding little rips in the mouth, like his mouth was open too big, like he ate too big of something, and it ripped his mouth open. Again, I'm using a little stipple tool, and it adds a really, really nice texture. Like even with, like it just looks gruesome and nasty. His tail was really easy, just kind of sculpted it, made it round. I didn't know Squirtle is a turtle squirrel, and that's why he has a tail like that. I might be dumb, but that's what it is. Here he is. He came out really, 10 out of 10. I really loved how this build came out. The paint was kind of difficult. It literally took me 15 minutes to figure out the color that I was working with. I kept adding green into the blue, and it made it green. Surprise. Because the color swatch I had, there was a little bit of green in there, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna add this little bit of green, and it just kept turning green. And I think it was the blue I was using. I used a lighter blue and then a little bit of green, and then from there it was just kind of painting by numbers, like looking at reference photos of like the colors on Squirtle, putting it where the blues needed to be, where the shell needed to be. And the colors do seem a little bright right now, but I do add a wash later. But the detail was great. I don't want to hide that behind the paint, so that's where the wash comes in. It gets really into those crevices so that you can show all the detail you're working on. The cuts, again, add like a nice burnt, dark, deep red, make it look like they're old cuts. I don't want them looking too fresh because he is dead, but I want him bloody. I want him to look a little gruesome. This is that wash I was talking about. I'll link it in down below. It was from Black Magic Craft. So yeah, it came out. The wash added everything that I wanted to on the build, especially with all the details in his fingers. I added little striations on there, especially you can see on his shell. It just adds that nice little spice that you're looking for. This, we're just doing a dry brushing of white just to bring out some of those highlights. The wash, it just kind of imitates shadow, and this one just imitates some highlights on some of the raised areas. For the terrain, all I did was I got some corkboard. I kind of just picking it off, making it look like rock. I wanted to make him look like he was in a creek, looking like in a tide pool. I went more with a creek with the watercolor I chose. But this adds like really nice edges, ridges, just some nice definition into it. I'm adding the ground texture using Sculptamold. You can see in the back left we got the Charmander. Just go make sure you check that out. The Sculptamold's good. Just make sure you're wearing a respirator, just because there are dust particles flying up everywhere. But the Sculptamold's really easy. Mix it with some water. It was too thick, so I took some of it off. But you can spread it out flat. When it starts to dry, you smooth it over with your finger. Just if you want like a really rough kind of texture, you don't have to touch it. But if you want kind of what I did, make it look like a rocky, dirty bottom, I didn't smooth it up too much. I added some rocks, and then this is a black paint Mod Podge mix, just to seal everything in. And then the rocks is just grays and whites and browns. Same with the floor. I kind of mixed everything up just until I got something I was happy with. The brown I was using, it was like we had a dark brown, and I wanted to make it look more like there's like a shoreline, so I was adding a light brown, mixing in with the rocks, make it look like they're covered in there. It took me a little bit just to get this how I wanted it, because I didn't have an idea of what it looked like. And then this is the first time using resin. I'm definitely not on the left. You can see I'm using tinfoil tape to hold in the resin. Not using that again. It was such a pain in the butt to get everything off. I didn't record any of me peeling that off just because it was such a hassle to get everything pulled off from there. But I am definitely gonna be using resin. And this is the yellow tint I was using for the water to make it look murky. It came out really nice, but again, this is my first time using resin, so I was terrified of pouring it in there. But I think it came out really nice. Let's go ahead, take a look at our final shots and see what we got. And there you have it. I think it came out fantastic. I love, okay, so I had a little issue with the resin on the bottom. If you saw at the bottom, there's like, it looked like rocks. It was actually tape that I painted to look like rocks because the resin glued the tape to my base. So I think I pulled it off pretty good. I bet you didn't even notice. You're just like, oh, look at this base. It looks like rocks. Nah, it was tape. So yeah, if you like my video, make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't like my video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, so I will see you next time with another video. It might be spooky. It'll probably be spooky because spooky month is upon us, basically. All right, I'll see you next time for another video. See ya.